FEMA is planning for an earthquake that would devastate the Pacific Northwest, killing at least 13,000 people. To the north of California's famous San Andreas Fault is a less known, but possibly more deadly, fault line. The Cascadia subduction zone runs some 700 miles from Northern California to Vancouver. In a deeply reported article for The New Yorker, Catherine Schultz tells the tale of how this fault lies dormant for periods of 243 years, on average, before unleashing monstrous tremors. The Pacific Northwest is 72 years overdue for the next quake, which is expected to be between 8.0 and 9.2 in magnitude. At the upper end of that scale, Schultz notes, we would experience the worst natural disaster in the history of North America. The major 2011 earthquake in Japan was a 9.0, killing more than 15,000 people. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, already has an emergency response plan for when this earthquake hits. Parts of FEMA's quake expectations are truly terrifying. As Schultz writes, FEMA projects that nearly 13,000 people will die in the Cascadia earthquake and tsunami. Another 27,000 will be injured, and the agency expects that it will need to provide shelter for 1 million displaced people and food and water for another 2.5 million. These projections are based on a scenario that is the earthquake striking at 9:41 am February 6. The agency isn't trying to predict the future or saying that the earthquake will definitely occur then, they just need a date to plan around. The toll would be far higher on a warm day, when more people, often huge crowds of people, are at the beach or in the water. When the quake does occur, its severe effects and the impacts of the following tsunami, it will look like the whole ocean, elevated, overtaking land, will be felt all the way from Canada to Sacramento, in densely populated cities like Seattle and Portland. What's more, the Pacific Northwest is not earthquake ready. Buildings aren't retrofitted properly and there aren't many effective emergency warning systems or escape plans in place.
Facebook and Twitter. You can visit us on www.therealthingming.webs.com.
Alright, Yahaba Shemi Al-Shabrakathum, double honors to the apostles, a great millstone, and salutations to the brothers doing this work, and being watchmen, and knowing what time we're living in, and seeing the things that's taking place. Alright, this is GMS, the beloved truth, coming at you with some more information, some more news. This is long overdue. This has been since what this article came out on the 14th, but I first heard of this article, which is FEMA is planning for an earthquake that will devastate the Pacific Northwest, killing at least 13,000 people. Now, they aired this on the news, I think it was on CNN, and they said that at least 10,000 people were going to die, 24,000 people were going to get injured, and 1 million people were going to be displaced as far as homes and shelter is concerned. But we know this to be true, due to, it's possible, it's humanly possible. We don't know if it's just another rumor, another fear tactic by the elite, the Illuminati, or if it's actually true. Now, one of the things that came up, which is pretty much backing this thing up, is that movie San Andreas.
People need to know that the shaking is not over. We'll get hit again. And it's going to be a bigger monster.
Oh my God.
The Earth will literally crack open. And you will feel it on the East Coast.
I love you, Dad.
I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to get out, and I mean now. If you can't, God be with you.
Hey, hold on! We gotta get over it before it crashes!
All right, I'm gonna get into the article. I'll just give you a little tidbits here and there. It says that about, I mean, the magnitude of the earthquake is supposed to be 9.0, 8.9, and you normally have what, 7.2s, you know, and lower than those magnitudes. Nothing really devastating as much as this one. Okay, this is the Cascadian fault line, and as you can see, Satan has taken over the internet. He's basically doing whatever the hell he wants. Been struggling with this for the last 30 minutes. So Salakia, if you you know, if things start to go haywire, all right. So, but this is the article. I'm gonna read a little bit. I got some videos and post-production for you brothers to see, and a few scriptures. It ain't, you know, it's not gonna be long drawn out because I know our attention span ain't that much, and we got a lot of stuff to do. All right, just getting to it. It says, to the north of California's famous San Andreas fault is a less known, but possibly more deadly fault line, the Cascadia subduction zone. It says it runs some 700 miles. Okay, there we go again. Okay, Slovakia. Like I said, Satan's taking over the computer, literally. Slovakia. Okay. Okay. It says runs some 700 miles from Northern California to Vancouver. That's all the way in Canada. In a deeply reported article for the New Yorker, Catherine Schultz tells a tale of how this fault lies dormant for periods of 243 years on average. It says, before unleashing monstrous tremors, the Pacific Northwest is 72 years overdue for the next quake, which is expected to be between 8.0 and 9.2 in magnitude. Now, what you got here is basically, like I said, rumor. You know, and I got scripture. You know, so we can always have a biblical reference to what's going on, because you know it matters. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it could be true. It could be just another fear tactic. But at the same time, it's a rumor, and you need to take, you know, and it's not, you know, it's highly likely that 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 the Illuminati wants to kill people in larger groups of number, because that's according to their plan. The Georgia Guidestones is to basically take out as many people as possible, so they can get the population down to 500 million. All right, souls on earth. But this is Isaiah chapter 51 verses 45. It says, "My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord." That means we're going out there to warn you of the impending things that's happening, who are the adversaries, and things that they're making happen. All right. Verse 46, "Unless your heart faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler." Right? And we know that's talking about war. It says, but the main point, this is a rumor. This is basically their scientists saying that this fault line is 72 years past due. All right, and that is supposed to be an 8.0 magnitude, 9.2 magnitude earthquake. All right, and we know how the elites play. They play on your fear. All right, but we know this is not far-fetched due to what happened in Haiti, due to what happened to even though it was a hurricane, due to what happened to Katrina, and what happened over there in I believe it was India. All right, over there south of Asia, in Asia. All right, around the Malaysia area and those parts. Though that consecutive earthquake that happened over there. All right. So I can continue the last verse 47. "Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon, and her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her." All right, now we know it's the Most High's judgment above all things, because even though Esau has the heart program, all in all, it's the Most High moving them to do certain things and to tweak certain things in the earth, so they can basically destroy themselves with their own device. And the scripture says that too. All right. It says at the upper end, just back in the article, it says at the upper end of that scale, Schultz notes, we would experience the worst natural disaster in the history of North America. It says that the major 2011 earthquake in Japan was a 9.0, killing more than 15,000 people. All right. And it says the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, all right, already has emergency response plan for when this earthquake hits. Parts of FEMA's earthquake expectations are truly terrifying, as Schultz writes. Now, mind you, this is all going on while Jade Helm is underway, all right, and taking place. Not only that, but you got the leaders and the elitists that that's doing the Bohemian Grove with these last few weeks in this month, July. So that should be taken into accountability. All right. So that's why brothers just put two and two together. It's not far-fetched. Whether it's a fear tactic, whether they're really planning to kill, because we know they're planning to kill more people. All right. And creating a massive earthquake is probably the best for business. All right. Because the elites don't care about nothing except for how much blood they can spill according to their Georgia Guidestones. All right. But the elect is going to be protected. All right. So we won't, Lord willing, we won't, those that are the hopeful elect and those that are the elect, they won't have to endeavor. You might see it and it might change your life, but at the same time, we know it's the Lord above all things, so we're not going to faint. Have feeble knees, and the feeble minds. All right, so it says back in the article, the Federal Emergency Agency FEMA already has emergency response plans for when this earthquake hits. Parts of FEMA's quake expectations are truly terrifying, as Schultz writes. All right, FEMA projects that nearly 13,000 people will die in the Cascadia earthquake and tsunami. And I encourage y'all to look up Cascadia Rising. Cascadia Rising, this word here, just put rising at the end of it, and just Google search it and do a little bit more search and research on it. You know, like I said, this is just something I caught. You know, the Lord caught it, tuned me in to catch it, and here you go. Even though it's 10 days overdue, but you know you get it before it happens. You know, unless it happens right now. It says, oh yeah, and as a matter of fact, the people on the East Coast is gonna feel it. That's how huge it's supposed to be. So, all right, it says 13,000 people will die in the Cascadia earthquake and tsunami. Another 27,000 will be injured, and the agencies expect that it will need to provide shelter for 1 million displaced people and food and water for another 2.5 million. Now, what does this all lead to? That's right, you got it. Martial law. All right, the state of emergency. All right, America's already deemed a battlefield, and you know what happens during natural disasters. Things get turned upside down. People get displaced, meaning women and men. They start to go into a state of shock. And whenever society breaks down, law and order is is out the door. Okay, and that brings in what we call the movie The Road, the movie The Day. Yeah, exactly, The Day. Okay, look that up. And movies like Handmaid's Tale, so on and so. The one with Denzel Washington, even though it was a terror threat. I forget the name of it. Post production, if I can remember it, Lord willing, I'll give it to you. I says these projections are based on a scenario that had quake striking at 9:41 a.m. That's huge, 9:41. All right, and that's spiritual. February 6th. All right. It says the agency isn't trying to predict the future or saying that the earthquake will definitely occur then, which the scripture says they're going to do that anyway, okay? Because Esau does a diligent search. He knows exactly what he's doing. All right. If anything that happens is because he allows it to, and some things he can't control. Hopefully this is one of the things. And 13,000 people deserve to die. A whole lot more, especially here in America. All right. It says they just need a date to plan around. The toll would be far higher on a warm day when more people, often huge crowds of people, are at the beach or in the water. Now, don't be surprised if it's if it's a gay day parade, or some new parade that they bring out, and hundreds of thousands of people are, what I'm saying? These are just small numbers. All right, and you got to look forward to the days after the devastation, when things start really taking effect, like hunger and thirst, and they already suffering a drought over there. All right, in California, that Cascadian fault line. All right, the water's just disappearing. All right, so that's something to look into. All right, it says when the occur, its severe effects and the impacts of the following tsunami, it will look like the whole ocean elevated, overtaking land will be felt all the way from Canada to Sacramento, in populated cities like Seattle and Portland. What's more, the Pacific Northwest is not earthquake ready. Buildings aren't retrofitted properly, and there aren't many effective emergency warning systems or escape plans in place. The aftermath will be devastating, Schultz writes. All right. So by the time the shaking has ceased and the tsunami has receded, the region will be unrecognizable. Kenneth Murphy, who directs FEMA's Region X, the division responsible for Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Alaska, says our operating assumption is that everything west of Interstate 5 will be toast. And there you have it. There's more information out here. You brothers look it up. Just, search. And you shall find. Basically. So, with that with that being said, I got a few more scriptures and I'm gonna close out. All right. Remember, Bohemian Grove, martial law, U.S. military, Jade, Helm, all these things happening right now as we speak. The movie San Andreas, I'm gonna put it in post-production, Lord willing, so you brothers can see it. If you're a scoffer, fuck you and die slow. With that, this is Psalms 91, because brothers, we ain't gotta fear that. And I know this is more of a nuclear missile scripture, but it's a point I like to really catch in here. 91, Psalms 91 and 5. It says, "Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day," which is those ICBM nuclear missiles, "nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday." All right, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it says it shall not come nigh thee. See, only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. So you're gonna basically the impending earthquake, the overdue earthquake that's supposed to happen 72 years ago, is nothing more than the judgment of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and the reward of the wicked. All right, which are these filthy Americans and their filthy imaginations. All right, I keep going in verse 11. It says, "Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, my habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways." All right, and that's true. That's true right there. All right. Okay. Back. This is Second Esdras. And I want to point out another thing. Second Esdras 16 and 37. I came upon some information about democracy and how democracy is it's supposed to go into tyranny and chaos. All these things, all these natural disasters, all these terrorist attacks, all these things are supposed to be happening. All right, because democracy is nothing but anarchy. Anarchy. All right. These things are supposed to happen. Okay. Anarchy is supposed to take place in the democracy. That's the finality of democracy. So take that into consideration. All right. So this is Second Esdras. Not to mention, that shooting that just happened in Lafayette, Louisiana. All right, which the brother Tazawam just brought out. That being staged as well during this very time. So all these things are simultaneously happening, and be prepared for the worst, and hope for the best. All right. So this is 2nd Ezra 16:37. All right. It says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack." And y'all gonna know that when the ground start rumbling and shaking, and all you see is clippings from news channels that a huge earthquake just happened on the west coast of America, so on and so forth. All right, you already know this is all a movie, baby. Let's go. It says, "As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment." All right. So this is like a woman having in her 9th month bring forth a son is likened unto America, or America is likened unto a woman in her 9th month bringing forth a son. Okay, that is to say, she has what they call her I forget what they call them, but they call them Salaki. It leaves my mind, but the birth pains. All right, they come gradually, and then when it's time for that baby to be born, they start swelling, and it gets worse and worse. All right. It says, "Even so shall," verse 39, "even so shall the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side." All right. "O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle." How you do that? Through fasting and praying. And it's easy to say, but you got to do it. We all got to do it. So fasting, praying, and having faith, man, that's number one. And Lord willing, your faith is increased, and your grace is increased through following the statutes and commandments to the best of your ability. All right. It says, "O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle." And that's perfect. And that's why we go out there every Saturday, or what have you, Sunday, or during the week, however brother's schedules fit around it. That's what we do. We make ready to the battle. We get our people ready. All right. It says, "He that selleth," it says, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. So brothers, you're gonna be displaced. If a tragedy, not a tragedy, a devastation happens, and it's around your way, you gotta get up and leave everything behind and move on, man. And if it comes down to that, brothers, man, have to take in brothers. Not saying that, but if it's very possible, brothers have to take in brothers. Lord willing, that be the case, but you got to be like a vagabond, man. Even the Lord was a vagabond. He had no certain dwelling place, as he said. John the Baptist, man, examine thy fathers, thy prophets, and thy Savior, man. That they all were prime example. Paul, all these guys, man. So I'll continue. It says, all right. It says, "He that occupieth merchandise, as he that had no profit by it." Oh, Salaki, verse 41. "That selleth," this is the state of mind you're supposed to be in, "let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise, as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth, as if he should not reap. So also he that planteth the vineyard, as he that shall not gather. They that marry, as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not, as the widowers. And therefore they that labor in vain. For strangers shall reap their fruits, and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. All right. So, all right. So with that one, I'm gonna just go ahead and close it out. All right. And say Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakathum. Double honors to the apostles, a great millstone. All right. And if you brothers, coming into some a little wealth, man, however you want to say it, the Lord might be just testing you to see if you're gonna give that up or if you're gonna hold on to something. But I know the elect ain't gonna hold on to none of it. All right. So, with that being said, this has been another short a short video on what's happening in America. All right, so Shalom. Right.
I've often said the main thing you have to do is to, educate yourself by yourself. All the information is out there if you're guided towards it. Something will guide you towards it or drive you. I call it driving you towards something. If it's so important to you, you'll be driven. Sometimes in a crazy way, in fact, until it'll take over your life as you're driven to find out the whys. And once you understand the whys, then you understand what's coming. When you understand what's coming, you don't panic. You don't panic. It's expected to happen. So don't let others manipulate you into the fear mode, which actually disables you. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who exploit you as well and sell you all kinds of things for the sky is falling scenarios because they make an awful lot of money at it. There's a lot of people in this world, and we live in this materialistic system. They can be so easily exploited by the unscrupulous or even psychopathic types as well. Because the psychopath smells which way the wind is going for opportunities, and he'll be there. He'll be there where there's an opportunity for him to pirate everyone else's stuff too. And once he gets the mantras right, the people will listen and then exploit you, you see. There's lots of groups out there doing that kind of thing too. And the same thing happens with the NGOs, only they're taught what they're doing. They know what they're doing at the top in the big think tanks. They know how to manipulate you, create the crisis, create the fear or the impression or the techniques of fear. And I call them techniques of fear. You don't need a crisis fear state to come upon you. And here's a little secret here too, for those who don't know. Many moons ago, the behaviorists got into studying fear. Fear itself is a method of total control for compliance amongst the public. And every country was involved in these. In fact, during the Cold War, all top scientists, by the way, shared everything to their so-called enemies. It was all nonsense. And they said, how can we create fear? For instance, here's an example. If you're faced with a tiger in the jungle, you're going to have sudden fear with all the responses that fear brings, you see. The fight or flight syndrome, the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, all of that. You might empty your bladder, or even worse in some people. And then you vamoose as fast as you can, or you become frozen and you get eaten, you see. There's different responses of different people as to how they'll react to it. But they noted all the different sensations which come with the state of total fear, where you're faced with imminent death, for instance. And it was interesting from those who ran Russia. I always say those who ran it because a lot of them didn't come from Russia. But the fact is, those who ran Russia, they did a lot of experiments which they couldn't, well, at least they couldn't openly so much do in the West, because when you're killing your subjects like humans, it's not too popular. And again, you might get that outrage thing that goes nowhere. But you find that they found if they could simulate the symptoms which generally comes secondarily to the actual instigator, the motive, the object that terrifies you. You get all these symptoms kick in, where your pupils will dilate, more light comes in for fight and flight, so blood pressure changes, your heart goes up, adrenaline gets shot in. So if they could make these things happen through other techniques, even electronically, then you would go into the same state of fear as though you were facing a tiger without a tiger being present. This is well understood science. And I could yap on for an awful long time, days and weeks maybe, about all the studies that were done. However, it's used on you today. Through television, through computer, through, I'm certain, as Brzezinski was talking about this technique where they could literally go across a whole continent with electromagnetic waves, etc., HARP technologies, you might call them, Wi-Fi is included in that, and create these same side effects, which would make the whole nation anxious or very depressed, or even make you so relaxed when you shouldn't be relaxed, perhaps, and manipulate the public. These are warfare techniques, and we live in an age of advanced science. Even during the Cold War, the front guys would tell you those who win this war will be the leaders in very advanced sciences. Well, it hasn't stopped, folk. And all those experiments that used during the Cold War and they made during they're all being used on you today. You see. From the simple techniques of just hype, I could hit you with 1,000 stories a day until you're quivering under your kitchen table in total breakdown and panic. But I don't. Because that disables you. That's a warfare technique. I keep saying it over and over. The average person, even a person who's got more stamina, could perhaps handle two major crises at one time, maybe a third, a little bit, without cracking, as long as they're not prolonged. But more than that, you crack up. So if I were to tell you, but worry about this today, just for today's news, you're going to go into a panic mode, fear mode. You'll sound like a loony to your friends. You'll look like a loony to your friends, and you get nothing done. In fact, you won't even get your basic, essential daily living done. You'll start to fall and break down. So don't go there. It's a weaponized system.